8 years ago, a 17-year-old boy named Max Verstappen stormed the Formula One scene. Some doubted him and called him too aggressive and reckless, but since his debut, the Dutchman has continued to make a mark on the sport. He has drastically changed F1 racing. What impact has Verstappen had on F1 racing? Stay tuned to find out. Max Verstappen was undoubtedly destined to compete at the top levels of motor racing after being trained by his father, former F1 racer Jos Verstappen. After achieving success in karting, Verstappen immediately jumped up to Formula 3 in his first season in cars. At the age of 16, Verstappen finished third overall in the 2014 Euro F3 Championship, trailing only Esteban Ocon and Tom Blomqvist, picking up 10 race wins along the way. RedBull sparked a commotion when they announced in August of 2014 that the then-teenager Max Verstappen would make his Formula One debut with Toro Rosso the following year. Verstappen's meteoric rise became a hot topic because he had not even finished his first season of single-seater racing and had, up until that point, never driven an F1 car. At the time, opinions were divided on whether he would be ready for the highest level of competition at such a young age. The Dutchman made his official Grand Prix debut behind the wheel of Toro Rosso during practice for the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix just 3 days after he turned 17 years old. Since then, the Dutchman has had a massive impact on the sport. Have you heard about Verstappen rules? Yes, the young lad has been the centre of some F1 rule changes. The FIA issued the first Verstappen rule as a direct reaction to Max Verstappen's meteoric ascent to prominence at such a young age. This rule increased the minimum age requirements to compete in Formula One to 18 from 2015 onwards. This means that Verstappen would continue to hold the record for youngest driver in F1 for the foreseeable future. Because of his impressive showing in Melbourne, the FIA could put to rest any concerns they may have had regarding Max Verstappen's level of maturity. An engine issue was the only reason the Dutchman did not get points during his debut, but he would eventually score points in Malaysia with a stunning 7th place finish. That set the stage for a great rookie season for him, during which he performed admirably compared to his teammate Carlos Sainz, but it would pale compared to what was in store for him in the 2016 season. In 2016, it was confirmed that he would replace Daniel Kvyat at Red Bull Racing, beginning with the Spanish Grand Prix. During the announcement, the principal of the Red Bull team, Christian Horner, stated that Max Verstappen had demonstrated on multiple occasions that he is an exceptional young talent, and that his performance while driving for Toro Rosso has been nothing short but impressive. At 18 years old and 228 days, he displaced Sebastian Vettel as the youngest driver to ever win a Formula One Grand Prix, after winning the Spanish Grand Prix. Since then, he has gone on to win 31 races to date, with a World Championship in hand. After some incidents in Hungary and Belgium, Verstappen reintroduced a more aggressive style of racing, and he soon came to blows with some of his competitors, particularly Raikkonen. In Austin, the FIA released a rules clarification that cracked down on the dangerous practice of moving under braking, which Verstappen has previously been accused of engaging in. Ironically, the second Verstappen rule caught out Ferrari to Red Bull's benefit when Sebastian Vettel was penalized in Mexico for his defensive actions against Ricciardo. The second Verstappen rule did not last very long. Before the start of the 2017 season, the FIA made more rule changes to ease its officials' workload, while also providing drivers with more leeway when competing. You're enjoying this video, right? You definitely don't want to miss out on the other amazing videos, so all you have to do is hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. In his earlier career, Verstappen was bound to make an error here and there, but it would have been a mistake to write off his driving strategies as the result of his youthful exuberance. It appeared as though Verstappen had taken a cue from the late Ayrton Senna, who was recognized for a racing style that was similar to Verstappen's aggressive approach. From his early days in F3 in England, Senna developed his reputation by trying to get inside the heads of his competitors and intimidating them into either giving in or taking a risk that could result in an accident. In a manner similar to this, the 2016 Spec Verstappen, in an effort to demonstrate that he is not easily intimidated, backed up his occasionally brazen attempts with abrasive post-race statements. In 2017, Max still showed some impatience attitude, as evidenced by many on-track events that drew criticism from mentor Marco and team manager Christian Horner. Despite this, Verstappen could still rack up 2 more victories in 2017. That all seemed to change in 2018 after a troubled Monaco Grand Prix weekend, in which Verstappen failed to make qualifying following an FP3 crash, and his teammate Ricciardo ended up winning the race. After suffering a setback, Verstappen returned stronger than ever with a remarkable run of impressive performances, finishing on the podium 10 times in the last 15 races. With his improved consistency, Verstappen moved to 3rd place in the 2019 championship, passing the Ferrari duo of Vettel and Charles Leclerc. At the same time, a heated confrontation with Esteban Ocon in Brazil showed Verstappen's quick-tempered side was still there. The COVID-19 epidemic unavoidably affected the Formula One racing schedule for 2020, yet the season still had 17 Grand Prix spread out over slightly more than half a year. Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes were the dominant forces this season, with Hamilton tying Michael Schumacher's record of 7 drivers' titles, and Mercedes winning a record 7th consecutive championship double. It was a season that Hamilton and Mercedes dominated. Despite that, the star of Max Verstappen continued to soar. Max finished on the podium in every race he finished that year, except for the Turkish Grand Prix, in which he came 6th. From the Styrian Grand Prix and up to the Belgian Grand Prix, Verstappen finished 6 times in a row on the podium. Max finished 3rd in the championship standings with a total of 214 points. After competing in these 17 races, he was 9 points behind Valtteri Bottas, who ended in 2nd place. Max Verstappen won the Formula One Championship for the first time in 2021. He recorded 18 podium finishes, 10 race wins, and 10 pole positions. Both Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton put up a valiant effort in their pursuit of the championship. The battle for the championship between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in 2021 will be remembered as one of the most intense and exciting the sport has ever witnessed. The build-up to the season finale was dominated by speculation that an event of controversy may prove to be the deciding factor in a championship that has not been fiercely contested throughout the season. In the end, it was, but not in the manner expected. With title contenders tied on points for a final race showdown for the first time since 1974, Verstappen took a brilliant pole position. However, it was Hamilton who was ahead by the race's first turn. Hamilton appeared to be firmly on course for the win, seeing him become Formula One's first 8-time champion. But then came the lap 53 safety car, and the race came down to the final lap as a shootout for the championship. With Mercedes fuming over the manner in which the safety car period ended, with only the lap cars between Hamilton and Verstappen allowed to unlap themselves, the race then restarted at the end of the same tour. The Red Bull on fresh tyres overtook Hamilton into turn 5, and it was Verstappen who was crowned world champion at the age of 24 for the first time. There's no doubt that Verstappen will win this year's F1 World Championship. He has won 11 of the 16 races this season. After the next race in Singapore, if the results go Verstappen's way, the title of 2022 World Champion could be officially awarded to him. If the Dutchman takes first place and Perez and Leclerc finish outside the points, the championship is his. The Dutchman, who is now 24 years old, has significantly impacted the sport in many ways other than just the 2 Verstappen rules. He reignited a sports-crazed nation in the Netherlands, which had become dormant after a string of less than stellar performances by the national football team. When Max Verstappen took his first victory in Barcelona, the media bandwagon had already started rolling. Max Verstappen quickly became a household name, much like his father Jos had been. Armies of Dutch supporters immediately spread throughout European race grounds, turning the grandstands orange and delivering a much-needed boost for a number of Grand Prix races. The most notable event to profit from Max Mania was the Belgian Grand Prix, held at Spa-Francorchamps. After a couple of challenging years, following Schumacher's retirement, Spa began selling out again, largely due to the significant influx of spectators from the neighbouring country of Holland. Spa's accomplishments motivated the Netherlands to reconnect with its past and revive a genuine home race for Verstappen and the countless admirers he had accumulated over the years. Between 1952 and 1985, the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort was an essential part of the Formula One World Championships. The race was eventually cancelled in 1985. Netherlands fought hard to bring the event back to the country, using the moment of Verstappen's burgeoning popularity and a growing interest in Formula One as their weapons. In the end, they prevailed. In May 2019, the sporting director of the race, Jean Lammers, and the CEO of Formula One, Chase Carey, announced that Formula One would return to the Dutch dunes on a refurbished circuit. It was believed that nearly 1 million fans applied for tickets to attend the comeback event, even though the circuit only has a capacity of slightly more than 100,000 people. The COVID-19 pandemic caused the return of the Dutch Grand Prix to be delayed, but it took place in September 2021. Even though the arena was only opening at 2/3 capacity due to the pandemic, the grandstands were filled to the brim with a sea of orange, as fans of Verstappen turned out in force. Red Bull driver's victory on home turf made the 36-year wait for the event well worth it for the partisan audience, who cheered him on to victory. When Verstappen won at Zandvoort for the second time in a row at 2022, he once again brought joy to the Zandvoort crowd. Zandvoort is scheduled to continue serving as the venue for the Dutch Grand Prix at least through the year 2023. In the 8 years that Verstappen has been racing in Formula One, he has gone a long way. Nevertheless, his adventure has only just begun. What's your thought about the meteoric rise of Max Verstappen? Let me know in the comment section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.